Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. We start off the front page review today with the Nation major headline. INEC Osun governorship election will be transparent. Then we have in other news, DMO offers 1.1 trillion naira federal government bond. 7 die in mining pit collapse. Really sad story. Kwadabi Amila, more time needed for policing bill impute. Then Indian Prime Minister invites Tinubu to BRICS summit. Recapitalization, NICOM clears 7 more insurance firms as Ondo opens electricity generation distribution for investors. And aviation industry, NCAA airline operators reach agreement on debt repayment. All right, so what story do we start with?
So can I do the picture story? I'm trying to get renewed hope on this one, but the thing is not doing, it's not gelling. So the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, has recently elected their leadership, and it was led by the executive president, Salimon Oladiti, who went to see the president. And so the president, while receiving them, gave assurances of he took an undertaking of commitment to revamp our refineries. He said he has undertaken a structural and economic reset to ensure the facilities do not merely operate but deliver value to Nigerians. He talked about how it is his duty and he is not going to put blame past governments but restore that our refineries, the 4 of them, 2 in Port Harcourt, 1 in Warri, the other 1 in Kaduna. And he was conferred with the Grand Patron of NUPENG title by the union. And he says his administration has accepted the responsibility for fixing the country's refineries and would not blame previous governments for their current condition. With what has happened, even under this administration, around the refineries, I don't have such. I need the president to give me energy to hope.
You are not expectant.
Not that hopeful. I don't want to waste another amount of money in billions of dollars.
To do with turnaround maintenance that might end up going down the drain.
I have the Aviation and Aerospace Development Minister, Festus Keyamo, has met with aviation unions, airline operators of Nigeria, and then heads of aviation agencies to resolve the dispute that led to the disruption that happened at some airports that we took earlier in the week. So they say the parties have reached an agreement. Quickly take the agreement. So under the new arrangements, the NCAA and other aviation agencies have to obtain payment schedules from airlines that are indebted to them with repayment periods spread over a reasonable time frame. The directors of finance and accounts of aviation agencies are also expected to meet with individual airlines within 1 week to agree on realistic payment plans. They also address the right of aviation workers to freely choose whether or not to belong to a union. And airlines have been told not to stop the unions having access to their employees. The employees can have access to the unions where they take membership forms and things like that, and then they can decide if they want to join the unions or not. And it seems like, you know, they have sort of handled it, at least at this level, and then hopefully things will go back, things will be resolved. But I always wonder why conflict, it seems so easy. I always wonder why we allow conflict to degenerate to this level. Yeah, because this conversation could have been had a long time ago. This arrangement would have been agreed upon a long time ago. But we waited until people were holding placards and fighting each other. It's not right. And we're losing money.
Yeah, so I have the sad story of what happened in the Plateau mining pit collapse. The 7 miners have been killed and others injured after a mining pit collapsed on them at Kasa community in Brekinladi local government area of Plateau State. This is so sad. This happened on Wednesday evening while the victims were working. Yeah. A resident of the community said that this incident occurred at 7 p.m. and then they came there and then they found that they saw what had happened and saw that some people had died and some seriously injured. The commissioner for Environment, Climate Change and Mineral Development, Peter Kanang Gwum, said in a condolence message that this is such a painful loss and extends his condolences to the families of the victims and the Gasa community. He stressed the need for stronger safety measures in mining communities and that, and I quote, we must continue to strengthen safety standards, regulatory compliance, monitoring, and responsible mining practices to safeguard the lives and livelihood of our people. This is so sad because nobody needs to die when they go out to do honest work, to put food on their table. Our heartfelt condolences goes out to their families, at this time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was going to do updates on the insurance story because, we've been following NICON, which is the National Insurance Commission, who decided, who made, what implemented the policy of recapitalizing all insurance companies, raising their capital base to 50, and there were some that were deregistered. However, they said 7 insurers raised recapitalized firm to up to 50 now. So we now have up to 50 that were reinsured. They listed the companies that are now, that fall within that line. There was a particular one that there's been a bit of controversy on, that is including Nikon Insurance and Nigeria Reinsurance to regain their license. But they said some companies have failed to make the list. That means that Nikon Insurance still didn't make this updated list, and we're still following the story to know how that plays out, because they came out to say that they made they raised the money, but why they are not on the list is still is subject to investigation. So we'll be looking at the update. We're supposed to go through the Punch, but I think we should go on a break. When we return, we'll continue the front page review. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us. We continue front page review with the Punch major headline. Governorship polls. Police lockdown Osun. DIG, 30 CPs deployed. Police say 34 illegal guns seized, helicopter drone unit on surveillance across the state. In another news, we have State Police Bill. Presidency extends public submissions to August 21st. Edo records 70 child defilement cases. Fathers top offenders. 2027, Abiodun Daniel trade fresh blows over political allegiance. And then, still within the 2027 elections, Makinde picks ex-DSS DG Daura as running mate, rallies opposition. Okay, what story do we start with?
According to the State Commissioner, the Edo State Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development, Eugenia Abdallah, she was speaking at a bi-monthly press conference organized by her ministry. Right beside her was the Commissioner for Information and Strategy and the Managing Director, Edo State Geographic Information Service. So the Commissioner for Information, Kasim Afegbua, and the Edo State Geographical Information Service, Innocent Bello, they were all there. And she made this very sensitive statement. Edo records 70 child defilement cases, but doesn't leave it there. It says that 50% of it, of such cases are perpetrated by fathers of the minors. And I read the story to a point because I wanted the statistics to show. Having worked closely with the DSVA in Lagos, you need figures before you can say fathers now abuse children in Edo State. The way the headline was captioned, the way the statement was put out, top
offenders among the 70 defilement
Edo is
cases.
Coming from a lot of stigma that has been generalized. Our Commissioner for Information should understand how sensitive it is. If you're investigating just 70 cases of defilement, 50% of it, you don't say fathers stop. You go to the root of it. And even in the story, the young girl did not admit her father was the defiler. A neighbor was saying the father was. She said the 14-year-old girl is pregnant. So we need to be careful about blanket statement before they say, "So Edo don't see something." I beg, we should please be doing the work well. I'm not saying there were not defilement cases. It is confirmed she had 70 of them in her records, but to put out a statement that way without put it in context is important.
All right.
Yes. So State Police Bill. Presidency extends public submission to August 21st. So yesterday we had taken in the paper that as of yesterday at 5 p.m., public submission would close. Yes. But the presidency had decided that they need to extend it, and The reason for the extension was to ensure that interested individuals, institutions, and organizations have adequate opportunity to make substantive contributions to the proposed legislation. I know for a few people yesterday, or many people, it was until they heard that the submission was coming to a close that they first heard about
Nigeria
it. So
style.
now that we have been given an extension, if you're interested, please, participate. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, so the Nigerian Navy, this one I think is a good one. Nigerian Navy, in collaboration with Operation Delta Safe Sector 4 and the Marine Police, has rescued 22 passengers who were attacked by suspected sea robbers along the Calabar-Oron-Ebak waterway in Cross River State. So what had happened was on Tuesday, there was a hijacking of a wooden passenger boat who was traveling from Henshaw Town Beach in Calabar to Ibaka on Tuesday. So when this happened, they said there were 5 armed policemen in a speedboat. They got on board, hijacked the people, they hijacked the boats, yes. But then security operatives immediately launched a counter-attack on them, blocked certain ways, created a blockade along the creek to make it uncomfortable for them. And by the next day, being Wednesday, they had to abandon both the kidnapped victims and the boat and run away. So they were able to rescue 11 passengers who had been abandoned by the attackers. And then also now, when they made the sweep of the creeks, they now found out another 11 that ran away during the whole chaos. And they've been debriefed, So the flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral Chidozie Okehi, reaffirmed the Navy's commitment to protecting Nigeria's maritime domain and ensuring the safety of citizens using the waterways. So congratulations to them. They did a fantastic job, and thank God these people were not kidnapped. And they said no ransom, no talk of ransom. They didn't even get to that point.
That's good. Good news. Moving on to Daily Sun, major headline. ex-CDS, NHRS, NHRC, Amnesty demand action against Father Onsi and Jenga. Their unguarded statement should not be tolerated. Senators' remark must not go unpunished. That's for Amnesty International. We must guard against igniting Rwanda-style violence in Nigeria. That's from the NHRC. Then we have Osun elections, Accord, APC, ADC, others in final push. TSC says federal government gives airline 1 week to submit repayment plan. And another sad story we have here, tragedy, we've taken that already, as 7 miners were killed in Plateau. Then NAFDAC sets new safety rules for blood and blood products. And Governor Makinde, APM presidential candidate, picks former DSS DG Lawan Daura as running mate. Custom links cannabis to acute psychosis, severe cardiovascular distress. Okay, what story do we
have? So I have the Father Osi and the Jigir story. So the former Chief of Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo, retired, has called for the arrest and prosecution of politicians and other individuals who make statements capable of inciting violence. Also, the National Human Rights Commission has slammed Sheikh Sani Yahya Jingir and Senator Francis Father Osi over statements that they said cross the red line for decency and risk fueling violence ahead of 2027 general elections. The Secretary of the Commission, Dr. Tony Ojukwu, issued the warning, and he says he compared it to the Rwanda genocide of 1994, said although Nigeria is not Rwanda, but the Commission suggests that the situation, if unchecked, could escalate circumstances into uncontrolled violence and chaos. And so they are also calling for their prosecution. I join voices with them, to have them by now should be under arrest and, being prosecuted for insightful comments.
All right, who has
the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has directed the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority, NCA, and other heads of aviation agencies to, within a week, obtain a schedule of payments, from airlines spread over a reasonable time frame, taking into account the airline's cost of operations and current economic realities.
Yeah.
Yes. So he also said that nobody should force, the airlines cannot stop their staff. They can't stop their staff from being part of a union. So regardless of anything that is going on, they should be able to, they should not obstruct them from collecting forms from, the unions and indicate interest if they want to be part of it or not.
Okay, fantastic. We're going to move on to Vanguard quickly. Major headline: factors that will decide Adeleke Oyebamiji Salam others' fate. And then you can miss a picture of police officers deployed to Osun during the election yesterday. But we have other stories that we haven't taken already. Drug war: Ogun Custom hands over 16.7 billion cannabis to NDLEA. 2027, our tax bigger than winning. That's from Makinde. Nigeria's refineries will soon bounce back. That's from the President, Tinubu. 2027 polls heed our warnings on hate speech. HHRC tells federal government. Xenophobia: no request received yet from South Africa on repatriation cost. Recapitalization: NIA backs NICOM as 7 more insurance firm clears hurdle. State Police Presidential Working Group extends deadline for memoranda. All right, so what stories can we take before we go on that?
Federal government has denied receiving any request from South Africa for reimbursement of costs incurred in repatriating Nigerians and other migrants from the country. They had to clarify because South Africa's Department of Home Affairs told Parliament on Tuesday that it had written to Nigeria, Malawi, and Ethiopia to seek refund for part of the 292.77 million rand, that's approximately $18 million, spent on accommodating and transporting deportees and voluntary returnees. Here, people have been saying, spokesperson for the president, Dengue Joseph Ono, rejected this. He says that it is not true. We have not received any document to that effect. As if the South African, he was asked if the South African government had reacted to Nigeria's request for compensation to Nigerians forced to leave the country. No response has been received yet. That same response was corroborated by Nigeria's Consul General in South Africa. Says the demand for reimbursement had been communicated and no response from them. So whatever it is that they are telling their parliament, on this side, we have not received any response from South Africa.
Them. You pursue person picking rich door. You see following in time, Mama has go ask question.
Yeah,
I don't
really
blame
sad.
them.
I saw a story I felt very interesting. The story is related to what we started our week with cannabis. Custom links cannabis to acute psychosis and severe cardiovascular distress. And this was as they were talking about the interception and seizing of 6,035 wraps of cannabis sativa with a total of duty paid value of 2 billion naira, over 2 billion naira in different locations of the state. So the Mr. Olani, the commander NDLEA, Idiroko Special Unit, as well as the commander Ogun State Area Command, Mr. Olukayode Afeni, which is from the Nigerian Customs Service, said the customs found the drugs, handed over to NDLEA. It was in the process of handing over that the conversation came out that it is a particular strain called Ghana Loud. And it's a strong strain of cannabis, and it is linked to acute psychosis, severe cardiovascular distress, rapid addiction, and long-term mental health degradation. This strain now is being brought into the country, and we know what we're dealing with. We just need to be more aware and spread the news. Don't just go and smoke orishi and turn mad.
Yeah, recently I actually saw a video after that conversation we had where doctors are saying that, you know, people always make it seem like cannabis, marijuana is not, they call it just a gateway drug, as if it's a gateway to addiction, but that they forget that it's the gateway to psychosis for people who may be... That's what we can take on Newspaper Review for today. We'll take a break. When we return, we continue with the show. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.